This video was created by VinylicPuma of VinylicPumaGaming. Please take a moment to review the following class mod for Athena. What's going on, everybody? This is VinylicPuma, and today I am here to show you my ultimate endgame skill tree for Athena The Gladiator for Borderlands the pre-sequel. Now, the funny thing about this particular video is I've actually made it several times. The first couple times it was due to poor audio video quality, and then of course the second time I actually finished the video, but I found out some information that really changed things up. See, now originally I was spec'd into Zyphos pretty heavily, getting a Blood Rush here, and also into Ceraunic Storm. I had some skills, like I had Smite, I think, and I didn't even spec into Conduit at all. Well, the reason I've changed everything here is because recently Master Kiz, you all know him, put up a video showing the Celestial Gladiator class mod. Now, this class mod has a passive boost to fire rate and maximum health, and boosts the following skills. Those are Vanguard, Hold the Line, Gun Kata, Clarity of Purpose, and Gathering Tempest, and I forgot the last one, and that one is Conduit. Now, I've basically put this skill tree together with that in mind, that I am going to be using the Celestial Tempest, wow, the Celestial Gladiator class mod. I've also spec'd heavily into Ceraunic Storm, simply because for those that remember in Borderlands 2, the weapon swap mechanic could be heavily exploited to get weird effects where you could basically make the Sandhawk bypass shields by quickly switching to the Trespasser. You could quickly switch between the Ogre and the Grog Nozzle to make the Grog Nozzle ricochet off the walls and get a Two-Fang effect, and a lot of cool stuff like that. And also, it goes without saying, you could use like a weapon like the Norfleet with slow projectiles, fire it, then switch to the Grog and instantly heal yourself. So that's why I've ultimately gone down this tree. Now, really, when you look at Athena's skills, there are a couple skills you can grab really early that are just going to increase your DPS with all weapons. Those are Gun Kata, Omega Senshu, Storm Weaving, mainly for that fire rate bonus, and Gathering Tempest, which will improve magazine size and reload speed. Now, I mainly spec'd into Maelstrom here because you have to have these skills to do that. The other perk of this is that when you deal shock or incendiary damage, it's going to increase your elemental damage. For those that remember Borderlands 2, at endgame, pretty much elemental damage was superior to both critical damage increases as well as standard gun damage increases. So I've gone with that here. And that'll apply to incendiary, shock, corrosive, and ice in this game. Now, of course, the skills that you see here that have 1 point, I figured that I'd only put 1 point in these so I could max or put points into other skills. Particularly Vanguard, what this does is when the Aspis is active, you gain health regeneration, and that health regeneration rate increases as you take damage on the Aspis. Clarity of Purpose just improves your melee and max health. It's kind of just a passive thing. And then, of course, Conduit is going to really make a big difference based on our Maelstrom stacks. So, I mean, if this gets boosted to 7 out of 5, that's going to make a really big difference in shield regeneration. And if you have high Maelstrom stacks and you freeze them with Flash Freeze, you could have, say, like 100 Maelstrom stacks. That's going to be, at only 2 out of 5, that'll be 4% of your shield regenerating per second. So this is going to be absolutely broken. And if you add 2 points in that, that's going to be 8% of your shield per second. And you may be able to get that even higher. Now, I'm going to go ahead and explain The Phalanx tree here, I mainly picked Aphatos because over Invictus, because I like movement speed and gun damage. And then, of course, assuming you're going to have the Aspis out a lot with Athena, I just picked this skill up. Hold the Line is one of the skills that's going to be boosted by our class mod. The current duration on that is 5.5 seconds. If you look at the active duration of the Aspis itself, it's 11. So it's going to be exceeding the cooldown time by 0.5 seconds. That's not that much, but since the class mod boosts it, you could expect to see anywhere from like a 10 to maybe even possibly 11-second increase, depending on how things ultimately work out. And I went with Prismatic Aegis just simply because if you are taking multiple different types of elemental damage or a specific type of elemental damage, it's going to improve the power of the Aspis. Now, what else do we have here? Oh, I didn't go over Omega Senshu. This skill is probably something every Athena player should have, regardless of your build. This is basically what it does is if an enemy is below 50% of their health, you deal 35% more damage. So that's going to be absolutely broken. Okay, so I went over these skills. Now we have Zeus's Rage. This basically, when you throw the Aspis, a fire and lightning storm spawns. My theory with choosing this is it'll apply a fire or shock damage over time, which will allow you to gain Maelstrom stacks. And it could be interesting if you're absorbing all fire and then you throw your Aspis with this. It could be pretty powerful, and you could get a lot of fire damage out of that, or shock damage, or corrosive, or ice. So that could be pretty cool. Now, I'm also going into Elemental Barrage. This skill is also another skill that I think every Athena player should have. And this basically allows you to get a free shot chance. So, I mean, if you have a magazine with like 100 bullets, 30 or more of those are free and you don't consume ammo. So I'd recommend that. At 100 Maelstrom stacks, that goes up to 40%. Really, 30% is pretty generous, and that skill is going to be awesome. Flash Freeze, as I mentioned before, is so you can freeze those Maelstrom stacks. That's just going to make your Maelstrom stacks more useful. Plus, I figure if you've got at least you've got maybe a fire gun, a shock gun, or then maybe some other random gun, maybe a corrosive weapon, and then a ice weapon. That's really all you're going to need, because you're going to be able to swap weapons so quickly between all of them that you can just pound away. And when you have the Aspis up, you're not taking any damage during that time. So that's going to be pretty cool. And then I ultimately took Ceraunic Storm's pretty much tier skill, which is Hades Shackles. Basically what this does, if you jump in the air and butt slam, it creates a shock tether. And if you do this on multiple enemies, at the end of this, it releases an Incendiary Nova, and you gain bonus Maelstrom stacks for each enemy affected. And of course, then it says this ability has a cooldown. So I ultimately went with that. Now, it should be also mentioned that if you're going to be doing a melee Athena, which I've pretty much gone with a gun-based Athena here, it would be really smart to spec into Rend, Tear, maybe Fury of the Arena, and maybe even Bloodlust. And generally Blood Rush, all these skills here, because these skills look awesome. And when enemies are bleeding, as I understand it, they are taking a damage over time from the bleed damage, and the targets that are bleeding, you can deal extra damage with like Tear, and then of course your DPS will go up with Fury of the Arena for the more enemies that you have bleeding. And this basically allows you to dash towards people, smack them, make them bleed, and then you just gun them down. So that's going to be pretty cool. Really, this stuff, like Stalwart, a lot of this is survival skills. Like this gives you the ability to revive people and give them second wins, kind of like Maya's res. What this does, it gives you enhanced shield capacity, then converts 5% of the absorbed damage into shield power. Meh. Then we have Return Fire, which is when active, the Aspis has a chance to reflect incoming lasers and bullets while still absorbing their energy. That's pretty cool, but we aren't going that far in this tree. And then Prepare for Glory is activating the Aspis taunts nearby enemies, making them more likely to attack you. Additionally, for every individual enemy who afflicts damage on your Aspis, you gain a stack of Prepare for Glory, increasing your gun damage. Basically, this is kind of like what you do. You taunt them, and then, of course, you get extra gun damage. And then Wrath of the Goddess allows your Aspis to ricochet up to 4 additional enemies, each taking less damage than the last. The Aspis will return to you after it hits the final enemy. And of course, it's losing 33% damage each time it hits somebody. So by like the 5th enemy, I mean, it's not going to do much. But anyway, guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this video. If you did like this video, please be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Really helps me out. And let me know what you think of my build, what you may have done differently. And yeah, so anyway, take care. Have a good one.